Hey, Stoat, be good, yo.
What's up, guys? This is the Blue Bridge Podcast. I'm Deck, and I'm with my man
DG.
Yes, sir. As of now, we got some good feedback last week. We appreciate all feedback, even if it's somewhat negative. And I don't count it as negative, but I mean, if it's telling us like, oh, this is messed up, we completely understand. As of now, we have a new camera. It's a little bit laggy, so I'm trying to work with that. We currently still have only one mic, but I have like 5 mics. They're XLR, if you know what that means, rather than USB. And this Blue Snowball is USB. So if we're not fully coming up, if it's not perfect volume, I still want the feedback that it's not, of course. But we're gonna work on it. It's gonna be better soon.
Yeah,
I'm purchasing a new one. I just thought yeah.
So
I just thought I had
bear with us, but we definitely appreciate the feedback. Keep sending us feedback as you guys keep listening to more episodes. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But similar to last week, Steel Curtain Sessions. This will be our next Steel Curtain Sessions. We're going to be speaking on the Pittsburgh Steelers for the most part today. If anything else comes up, we're just going to let it flow. But today, we're going to start out with the TJ extension. We mentioned it last week, whether they would extend them or not. And they just did yesterday. I think it was $121 million. 123 million. For 3 years, so you could get into that first. You could let me know how you feel.
Yeah, going back to last week, we told y'all, how we both felt about it, and we were pretty much in the same headspace with it. Me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited about it because you could just tell that we're going all in. Yeah. So with that, we better win some. We better be contenders. That's for sure. We're paying him, $41 million per year?
41 million, yeah.
Yeah,
what'd you say today? You said he was making $100K
$100,000 per day. So
yeah.
We're paying you like that. You gotta
show up.
Yeah, we gotta be contenders. We gotta look good against the contenders. So, it's a lot of money, but we're happy to have him back. So. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. My entire take on the TJ extension, it sounds weird. I say my soul, as a Pittsburgh, diehard fan, I'm ecstatic because I couldn't see 90 in another jersey. It would probably actually make me physically throw up. I'm not going to lie. But as I got older, watching the league and stuff, I got more prone to judging it as a business, of course, which it is. That's why we got in this situation in the first place with Miles pushing for what he got. And now TJ's getting paid more. I thought from a business side, initially, I was like, I don't know. Age-wise, we talked about this last week. Production-wise, he's been fine. But he's been injury-prone, as well as he's also been not really a factor in these playoff games. Not that anyone on our team has. But overall, similar to what he said about going all in, it's I don't understand why I even was doubting it in my head because we acquired all these older players, these veteran players, these guys that have been here before that we think could make another strong run. And out of any guy on the team that's a veteran that could help us make a strong run, it is TJ Watt. So I'm delighted to an extent for sure. But I have to see it play out, just like Aaron Rodgers. I'm happy we have him here, but it's all about what they do when the lights come on.
Yeah.
So as of now, the guy deserves his money. I knew he was going to get it regardless of the team. I'm just very future-oriented. They could call me pessimistic. Some people do for it. But I don't necessarily see us winning it all this year and maybe not in years to come. I'm not sure. But
yeah, and I appreciate the way TJ Watt went about it, being discreet and not really asking for that, that trade out loud, and so I'm appreciative of that too. So I'm excited about bringing a guy like TJ back, and that's what it comes down to. You cannot replace what he does on the field, regardless of how much money we're paying him. Of course, long term, you look at it and it's like, was it the best business move?
Yeah.
Probably not. But then again, everyone says the same thing. We're all tired of losing now. So if that means on the flip side we make an actual run at this thing, for me that's good enough.
Yeah. I'd say with the TJ situation as well, I mentioned being initially kind of like, oh, is that the best business decision? And it's been brought to the light, which I knew that our cap space was still going to be decent with that. But it has been brought to the light to me that we're still top 10 in cap space. There's still moves that can be made. I don't see us making another huge move. That might just be me not being Omar Khan, not being in those rooms, of course. I have no sources, but I just don't see. I think we're kind of locked in right now where we're at, and I'm not frowning upon that. But I definitely want a wide receiver too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, so I think that depends on what we would consider a big move or not. Me personally, I mean, getting someone like a Gabe Davis or even Jawan Jennings, that's a pretty big pickup in my opinion. Even to get that like solid wide receiver too, no matter who it is, because we're still unsure on guys like Roman Wilson. Calvin Austin made a lot of strides, but we're still, unsure on him too. He still has to keep proving himself. So I don't know if we'll make a Terry McLaurin type of trade, or anything like that of that type of magnitude. But I still kind of expect us to pick up a wide receiver too, like I said, like a Jawan Jennings, Gabe Davis. Pretty sure Keenan Allen's still out there. So a guy like any guy like that.
Yeah. I think the wide receiver too we will acquire will be serviceable if we do acquire one. And when I say serviceable, I don't mean mediocre per se or like bad. I just think it won't be like a big name. It'll be a name that Pittsburghers that know ball are familiar with. But of course, we're not about to get. He said we could. I don't think we're going to get Terry McLaurin, but anything can happen. Omar Khan has made some stuff happen. I mean, we both agree on that. So if it's a guy to do it, it'd be him. As well as some other guys in the league. But we haven't been the Steelers as of late in terms of business, so anything can happen at this point. I'd say actually a very Steeler-like thing we did was pay a guy to be one helmet in TJ Watt, defensively in particular. But in terms of the offense, I don't know anymore. I really don't. Never thought Aaron Rodgers would be our quarterback. Never thought we'd have DK Metcalf. I mean, we've breeded all our wide receivers. Pause. But yeah, we've pretty much stuck with who we drafted. So
yeah, I think Omar he brings a different approach to, like, you see he uses free agency a lot more than Colbert did. Mm-hmm. I feel like Colbert was definitely draft oriented. Developing all of our draft picks, but things change now too. All these big monster contracts that people are getting, it's like, you kind of got to dibble-dabble more into free agency if you want to compete. I feel like now it's got to be more than just developing rookies year by year. So I'm not mad. I'm definitely not mad at Omar's approach. I feel like, the guys we picked up, like Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, and all those guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could tell that we're not. I said last week we're kind of rebuilding with trying to compete at the same time.
Yeah.
But now, signing TJ back, it kind of looks like we're all in on this thing for this year.
Yeah.
And that I'm excited about.
I'd say I agree when it comes to where we're at right now. But, man, as a Steelers fan the last couple of years, I've been telling myself that we're going to do big things every year. I've been delusional. And it kind of makes me mad, and part of the reason I was mad, we, I want to say where I'm mad we signed a TJ. I was skeptical based on the fact that the all-in approach has not worked for however long. I mean, Russell Wilson was supposed to be a missing piece in the Steelers' eyes. I think Mike Tomlin's under the impression that he's going to win every year, which is great. And he does, technically, when it comes to the record. But as a greedy Steeler fan, as a guy that grew up watching the Arizona Super Bowl and ran outside going crazy, like, I want that feeling again, like we all do. And like the players do, I'm sure, the owners, everyone. But I'm still skeptical, man. Like, I don't know if this season, if their all-in approach will actually work. And that's why they play the game, though. I mean, anybody can sit up here and say that. Oh, I don't know if it'll work. But I'm just – I think at this point I'm more on the side that it won't. But I don't necessarily mean it not working will mean that we're just going to be horrible. I do actually think – after I've thought about it the last couple of days, we will win a playoff game this year. I actually do think that.
I'm skeptical. Like, I'm definitely skeptical just because I feel like it's the same rodeo every year. Mm-hmm. You know, getting hyped during the offseason and even starting off pretty decent, you know, at least the last couple of years. But then kind of like as the season goes on, we kind of decline. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, this year, I mean, I just feel like the names that we brought in, like going back, even though a lot of these guys are older, like Jalen Ramsey, you know, he's at the tail end of his career. Darius Slay, obviously, at the tail end of his career. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, so on and so forth. But those are all guys who won at other places too, and also competed in a lot of big games. And that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to see where does all this veteran leadership bring us down the line? Like, cause we'll go through those games where, you know, we'll be at that point in the season where it's like make or break in terms of, like last year, for example. I feel like when we hit that tough stretch down the line, and you know, we had all those big games lined up in a row, that was a make or break moment, I feel like, for our season. If we could have won 2 to 3 of those games, our season might look a little different.
Very different, yeah.
So I think just having veterans, we might be able to squeeze out those important games in the future. Am I still skeptical? Yes, but I think I like the direction we're going in for this year. I feel like having man corners like Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, guys who love to play physical. Yeah, I feel like we brought in a lot of guys that fit what we want to do. Even Jonnu Smith, Gainwell, these are all guys that fit our culture. So last year, I feel like the guys we brought was more just
fillers.
Yeah, you know, and this year it's more like we're bringing playmakers. We're ready to go. Although the ages, people will, you guys are a retirement home, da-da-da. Yeah. But we'll see. That's what we got to play the That's what we got to play the game for.
Before we even signed Aaron, Sean Elliott was send his old to the retirement home. But that's all in good fun. I agree with Darius in terms of, like, these guys are playmakers. Something I'll tie into this is I want to say his name's Patrick. I could be wrong, but there was a Rooney family member. Of course, I'm sure everyone watching this knows that the Rooneys are the owners of the Steelers. Apparently the comments, I'm not going to be able to like quote them verbatim, but apparently the comments are along the lines of, initially I think one of the main comments was that if you're going all in, pay TJ, even though it's a little iffy because of his age and whatnot, injury prone kind of career at times, which I can agree with. I mean, you guys heard me. The second comment is what I don't agree with at all. As much as I just said I don't think we're as close as Mike might think. He said, like I said, this isn't verbatim, something along the lines of, do you guys even think we could compete with the two big dogs in the conference, the Ravens and the Bengals, with Aaron Rodgers 10 years ago? And then he also said that we're going to get steamrolled by the Ravens, are so much better than us because last year's playoff game. And I'm going to jump into that right quick. First off, he's an idiot, in my opinion, for even mentioning Aaron Rodgers 10 years ago as someone that would be, I mean, I might just be younger, but I don't even think it would be a competition in a lot of those games. He's a way better quarterback than both of those guys, and I love Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, two of my favorite guys to watch. And it might be a hot take, but I think Aaron Rodgers 10 years ago, he was the MVP of the league. I think he was, like, in that realm. I mean, he was the MVP of the league not long ago, to be honest.
He's a 3-time MVP. So.
Yeah, so, I mean, 3 or 4, right? It was 3 probably. But either way, like, you got a guy like that 10 years ago. I don't even care who you throw on a team, to be honest. Like, something could crack. Other than that comment, though, man, like, us not being able to compete with the Bengals this year is his statement. And defensively, we're in a better position than we were last year to compete with them because Joey Porter Jr., which I've talked about last podcast, I think he's great. I really do. A lot of people hate on him because of the handiness. I mentioned that I love that. I wanted aggressive corners since Artie Burns' second year where he was very lackluster. I think initially he was decent with his hands. We really haven't had a guy since like Joe Hayden. Joey Porter Jr. is just fine. I think he's going to be good in this league. And then, I mean, God, like Jalen Ramsey, he's the best corner arguably all time in my opinion. But that's my era. And yeah, he's older, but he's the main guy that I don't see digressing as an older player because he's so smart. Like, it's not just physical with that guy at all. And, of course, we're going to be able to give him reps at safety and whatnot, which are going to be able to let him play his probably extend his career and also play his final years kind of slower but faster with his brain, slower physically. So I really see him being the point I'm getting at is you have a Tyler Boyd and you have a Jamar Chase, but now they have to line up and see a Joey Porter Jr. and a Jalen Ramsey. Regardless of how old Ramsey is, regardless how young Joey Porter Jr. is, they haven't had to have that. That's action. This is football now. This is dogs on dogs. This isn't, last year Jamar Chase lining up on Trice and still having problems a little bit. Trice did good. So him saying we can't compete with them offensively, they're a wonderful team. They might be the best offense in the league. That could be a hot take. I know we got Patty and stuff,
that's
but
a hot take. I mean, they're definitely top 3. I feel like sometimes guys like to exaggerate their point just to try to prove their point. Yeah. I think that's a crazy take to say we wouldn't be able to compete with the Ravens or the Bengals because, one, we do it every year. And I feel like, obviously, there's a lot of years where we're way less talented than the team we're going to bring onto the field this year. So, for you to be like, we're not going to be able to compete or we're going to get steamrolled, I disagree with that take personally because it's rivalry games. Mm-hmm. Those games will always be competitive no matter what. I mean, the last 10, 11 times we played the Ravens, except for that playoff game, came down to single digit scores and things like that. So him saying that, I feel like was more of an emotional take more than anything.
I agree.
What I will say though is, having Aaron Rodgers, I said it last episode. That's someone he did not forget how to play football. Not too long ago, I think it was 2021, he threw for 37 TDs to 5 picks. That was only 4 years ago. He had an injury, and I feel like a lot of people wrote him off as being washed. I disagree with that. I feel like what he did last year didn't contribute to winning, but he had a pretty good season. I think coming to a culture like Pittsburgh it's different than playing for a team like the Jets. Mm-hmm. You got a great defense here. You have, some people might disagree, but pretty good coaching here, and you're playing for one of the best franchises, if not the best franchise in the league. So
in terms of longevity,
So I think we'll be just fine. Now, does that mean signing TJ was a good or bad thing? I don't know. We'll see. But to say that we won't be able to compete, I think is pretty crazy.
We always compete at the end of the day. I'm not saying that I love the style in which we compete.
And I get it. In terms of, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, they're proving on what they will do with their offenses. And I feel like our defenses, maybe you could argue the Ravens have a better, if not as good defense as us, but we're right there with them. The Bengals' defense is very unproven. Mm-hmm. Has not been good. Obviously, if they had even an adamant defense, they probably make a deep playoff run. So they're not where they act like they are either. So I think we'll be able to compete just fine. That was an emotional take to me.
I agree. That was more of a mid-season take if we're doing bad already.
Yeah, like
he is a family member of the owner, so maybe he has more of like, he has more riding on it. Like he really wants them to do better, which of course we do. That's not to get confused with the fact that we are huge fans, but I don't know. Maybe there's something in the Rooney in behind closed doors that they talk about. That was very emotional to me. My bad, I cut you off.
No.
Another thing I'll elaborate on with that, and I'll kind of move on from him because, in my opinion, he's kind of a goofy. I think when it comes down to it, I think obviously that was an emotional take. I'm repeating myself a bit, but also him saying we'll get steamrolled by the Ravens and the Bengals. It's fair to say they're better than us because they were last year, and everything's not on paper. But even like Darius said,
last time I checked, we made the playoffs. The Bengals didn't.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
And it comes down to defense a lot of times. But I will say this is an offensive league, and nowadays, and they do have a way better offense than us. Even going into this year, I mean, way's probably too far because we definitely have a vet wide receiver and quarterback that can make things shake. I just more or less mean up to this moment, they definitely have better offenses. But man, like the Ravens' defense was good last year, but their secondary was struggling until they brought in that older coach to really fix things up, which is very, like, I love seeing stuff like that. And I know it's the Ravens. I respect them more than the Bengals and the Browns, though. So when they do good after we get out of the playoffs at times, I'm not saying I cheer them on, but I respect, a good organization. And I think a good organization does what they did, and something that we haven't been able to do is a little off topic, but I will say a lot of times Tomlin thinks he knows everything, rather than bringing in some guys and, letting them go. And I'm not saying like he doesn't have Shazier on the offensive coaching staff. But I just think the Ravens adjusted well. Maybe their secondary was better, but you can't say we're going to get steamrolled when they weren't looking that great defensively in terms of the backfield. The Bengals were, oh my God, atrocious on defense last year. I mean, their first rounder doesn't even want to be there. So we'll see. We really will have to see. It'll be competitive. I think I'm not going to have a hot take, but I think we'll win one game against both of those teams at least, seeing them twice a year. So we can move on from that. One of our mutual buddies, JU, talked to me this week. He watched last week's episode, and he told me to elaborate on the Minka trade. He felt like we didn't fully cover it, which we appreciate the feedback. I'll let you go first on the Minka trade, I guess.
We touched on it a little, just a tad bit, not really too much. We kind of put it more into with who was it that we was talking? Deshaun Elliott. And
yeah. Safety
we didn't
room
really
stuff.
speak on it too much, but obviously losing a guy like Minka, another playmaker, another guy that just fit the culture, was respectable in the locker room, great leader. So those things I will definitely miss. Now, I'm not going to act like he had the best last couple of seasons in terms of production and turnover criteria, or just making the big splash plays that we were accustomed to over the years from him. But who knows what type of season he could have had with us this year. So I definitely feel like it hurt in a way, but bringing in all pros like D Slay and Jalen Ramsey, who's been there before. I mean, we had D Slay before the Minka trade, but just having those guys, I don't feel like it hurts us too much. Maybe future-wise, Minka clearly has more good years in the tank than Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, and some of the other guys.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe he would. I never thought we would get rid of Minka. I'm not going to lie. But it's one of those things where it's like, you got to do what you got to do, and business is business, and that's kind of where I'm at on it. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna feel weird not to see him out there, not to see that 39 out there.
Yeah.
But then again, I always wish the best for guys when they leave, especially Minka.
Yeah.
And he's going back to the team that drafted him, so hopefully that could spark a flame in him. And I wish the best for him, but in terms of like how it made me feel, obviously it was a little bit sad, the departure, but getting Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, who, Jonnu Smith wasn't necessarily a need, but it was a good added piece on top of getting Jalen Ramsey. Some will argue that's the better part of the trade. That's up for you to discuss. I think.
Yeah.
It was a pretty even trade all around, but we'll definitely miss Minka.
Yeah. Man, I was a huge Minka fan, like, this whole ride. Even last year I was defending him heavily because I realized, like, watching film back, mostly YouTube videos, I'm not acting like I'm on Huddle, but I was watching a good amount of his stuff, and it's like he's in the right spot every time. He was doing his job last year. The lack of splash was very schematically based.
I think tackling too.
Yeah.
I think last year was one of his like worst tackling seasons.
Yeah, which I think the acquisition of Deshaun Elliott was kind of like a, hey, Minka, be you. Like, don't be in the box as much. You don't have to come up and be the third linebacker, essentially. We want you to be that guy in the back, locking everybody down, getting your splash plays, getting your pick sixes, just picks period. And I think it didn't work out exactly how the Steelers wanted it to, but he played really well. Do I think he deserved the Pro Bowl he got? No. Or All-Pro maybe too.
I think it was Pro Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, either way, I don't think he deserved that. Not to say he wasn't a great player last year, but this is what it comes down to for me. I still think he was great last year. He was in the right spots all the time, did his job game to game. It just came down to he wasn't getting those big plays, whether that be schematically based, whether that be, maybe he is digressing. It comes down to money, man. And he was getting paid so much to do what, I'm not saying to do what an average safety could do, because Mink is that guy. But when it comes to how you can set a defense up in the league, if you have more strength in other areas, you don't need a Minka all the time. You don't. I mean, it's great to have one. But with that pay, I saw something today that made me think, like, I don't know how we were even thinking that we wouldn't re-sign TJ with us dropping off Minka. It made a lot of sense. They picked the guy they really wanted, and if you asked me the question, who do I want more, it probably would be TJ from a heart perspective. It would hit a lot harder without TJ than it has without Minka. But we still love Minka. We got to give him his flowers. Great player, great Steeler. Probably going to be one of the greatest Steelers without a ring, no doubt. I mean, to me, he was little Troy sometimes. Like, I watched him and it was like, man, I'm blessed to see Troy and then see Minka. So I wish nothing but the best for him. But when it comes to money, it makes a lot of sense. And I guess to elaborate, like, fully on the trade, I do think it was a wash. As in, like, it was 50-50. Like, losing Minka is a big deal, but gaining a guy like Jalen Ramsey for his physical and mental abilities as a DB that itself washes out a bit almost. Mm-hmm. And then when you have the Jonnu on top of it, as much as I've been skeptical of adding him to the tight end room that I already think is pretty stacked in my opinion, still the offensive talent we were able to gain and the cap space we were able to gain, I think it was a wash, man. Maybe we might even have the upper side once we get into the season. If Jonnu's doing his thing, Jalen's doing his thing, we might have did better. Yeah, honestly.
To get a little bit off topic,
good.
Jonnu, I think he'll bring a lot to the table. Like, this is just me personally reviewing his film and seeing him thrive that last year in Atlanta with Arthur Smith, and then taking another stride last year with Miami. He's on a trajectory of being one of the better tight ends in the league. So I feel like getting him for what we did was honestly a steal. I still believe that there's not too many tight ends that could move like him. That could, he really moves like a receiver. So I'm excited to see how we utilize him more than anything.
Yeah.
I feel like to go back on topic a little bit with the Minka situation. I feel like Mike Tomlin is feeling that heat a little bit too, and he knows it's time to go all in. He knows, like, we cannot keep wash, rinse, and repeat every year, barely breaking even or barely above 500, going to the first round, getting smashed out. It's been a repeated cycle for as many years as I can remember now. It feels like the norm. So,
yeah.
I feel like he's obviously he's doing it with older guys and he's taking a different approach. But I'm hoping that approach pays dividends this year. I think it can, and I also think it cannot. I don't want to get too high. I remember after the end of last season, I told myself, I'm not getting too high this offseason no matter what we do.
Yeah.
They got to kind of show me. I remember going back to Kenny Pickett when he looked like Tom Brady in the preseason, and everyone was like, and he did. Like, he scored every possession, and people were through the roof, and then just for us to come out and do absolutely nothing on offense that year.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too high. Obviously, this is a podcast, and we're talking about future, so we're going to put a little bit of emotion into it. So I do think that, in hindsight, things will look a lot better, especially on offense. I think the flow of the way we play and the things we're able to do will look a lot different with having Aaron Rodgers start off the season compared to a guy like Justin Fields, who they kind of like put limitations on.
Yeah.
Even Russell Wilson, we knew what he brings to the table. He brought a good deep ball.
Yeah.
But he wasn't really the full shebang.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers, he kind of utilizes the whole field.
Mm-hmm. They were able to put a leash on Russell too, in a way.
Exactly.
You can't put a leash on Aaron Rodgers. It's impossible.
You can't, because he won't let you, and that's kind of what I like about that trade is like Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy if he knows it's a play call that doesn't make sense, he's not going through with it. He's going to do a big bet and he's going to get out that play call and call what he sees.
Yeah, I mean
that's kind of what we need, because that could bounce off. Arthur Smith might start seeing different things, and it could prep our next quarterback that's coming in down the line. So
yeah, assertiveness as a whole is a huge quality for a quarterback, in my opinion. My bad, go on, but
no,
you got to be assertive in that room.
Go ahead, elaborate.
As a team, like, I don't want to get off topic with the Kenny stuff. I think we were such a bad match for each other. I think getting him at 20 was a reach. I think, and I'm only bringing this up just because the other day I did say, like, man, we should have just never got rid of him at this point. Like, just let him go at his fifth, and then we get like a different guy. But regardless, I'm more or less talking about attributes of a quarterback, and I thought he was a little bit more steely-eyed, a little bit like more, like just a winner, which I did like some of his late game drives, but I'm more or less referring to Kenny and others. We haven't had a guy for so long, like, and as much as I hate on Mike Tomlin at times for being mediocre in terms of not winning a playoff game, he hasn't had a guy. Like, he really hasn't had a guy, and I'm really hoping for the best for Aaron Rodgers because I know he is a guy. I just more or less hope the age isn't as restrictive as it could be, and that he gets that swagger back. Because at the Jets, there might have been a couple, WWE wrestling belt celebrations, but it wasn't like he was at Green Bay. And even his last couple years at Green Bay, he was great. So I don't think his past prime is too far away for him not to catch lightning in what do they say? Catch lightning in the glass, or whatever they say. Yeah. I think he really could revive his career for 1 year. And you got to think, if you're a player as legendary as him, and you're playing your last year in the NFL ever, you're giving it everything you got. If he breaks his face in the second game, he might mess around and play the third game and on. Like, this guy is about to be retired, and whatever weird stuff he wants to do, he could go on his retreats forever. But I think he's going to leave as much of a mark this year as he can. Not that he hasn't already played his career well enough to be gold jacket. Of course he's gold jacket. Of course he's first ballot Hall of Fame. But that's the other thing, man. Like, Russ was just playing to play, in my opinion, and he still is. Aaron's got something to prove. 13 M's. I don't think he has anything to prove. I guess that's a bad way to word it. But I think he has a hunger. Because he don't have to play. Like, right now, if I were him, I'd probably be retired. Like,
Yeah, I feel like Russell Wilson was more like I need to revive my career situation with what happened with him in Denver. With Aaron Rodgers, he's at the end. He has nothing left to prove. And going back, I'm going to keep saying, like, New York's organization is not the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Yeah. So it's different. Even the Giants have more of like a pedigree than the New York Jets, So coming to Pittsburgh, I think it's kind of similar to him being in Green Bay, just a historic place of football. And ultimately, I feel like that will help his play. Some people might not feel that way. I feel like we got the pieces around him enough and the culture behind him, the defense behind him, pretty good coaching staff, just being more organized in Pittsburgh. A lot of that stuff will help Aaron. Yeah. And it's like I feel like how long he was supposed to come to the Steelers before he even came to the Jets, if people could remember. Like him and Mike Thomas' relationship has always been
the winks.
Yeah, I mean him and Mike, and that matters. Flirting. You know, wanting to play for an organization and them wanting you to be there just as bad. All those things correlate, and I think we will see that down the line this season, and people will look back like, damn, I can't believe we ever questioned Aaron Rodgers. I could be wrong, and we could be like, damn, why the hell would we get Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean.
I
so
agree.
It could go either way, but that's the fun part in being able to, you know, put your predictions out there. To get off of that topic, and to get in another topic that we didn't really touch on last week, but I know that we want to. This segment is shine light on guys like Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin and what we kind of expect from them this season. I'm gonna let Declan take the lead on this one, and I'll come and follow through on my thoughts.
I've had conversations with people the past few days as a as a local. You know, a bunch of locals are gonna voice their opinion all year. That's the beauty of the city, man. You're never gonna have a dead time. We could be 0 how many games are in it now? 17 something. We could be 0 whatever, and we're going to be, raving, whether it be positive or negative. And the one thing I have come across that I'm very, in the middle on is people being very high on Calvin Austin. I am a guy that's high on Calvin Austin, but I'm also realistic about Calvin Austin. I understand Sauce Gardner labeled him as one of the hardest people to guard in college football. I also understand that he is mega athletic, twitchy, can jump as high as anyone, even people taller than him. Excuse me. But I still think his apex is a wide receiver too, but I don't think he's going to reach that for the foreseeable future, 2 to 3 years. I think he's a high-end wide receiver 3. And I love that. And I think he's a guy that could eat a game, and you're just like last year, he had games where he was the best offensive contributor on the team. So when it comes to Calvin, I'm a huge fan, but I think there's a lot of dead space there when it comes to if DK were to get injured. Let's all think about this. I mean, George Pickens was injured last year, and we almost had to call AB's CTE himself at a retirement. I mean, and I really don't think AB has necessarily had CTE. I think he's just been crazy all along, but I'm not going to talk about that. I love his play. Man, Calvin Austin's great, but yeah, if DK gets injured and you have Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson, okay, I am very hopeful of Arthur Smith's approach with these tight ends. I actually am getting closer and closer to the fact that we could have an insane offense when it comes to tight ends mainly. So that they could be the leaders, the main guys going out there. And, of course, DK, I mean, he's essentially a tight end playing wide out. But the reason my issue lies on our depth right now, this is just where I'm at. I think we're desperately in need of a wide receiver too. And I'm high on both guys. And I know that sounds crazy. The reason is, Calvin, I said what I said about him. Roman, at the end of the day, and this is we both played football. I'm not going to sit here and act like I played at a high level, but if a guy walks in and he has the look, he has the good movement and stuff, and he played well at his last team, whatever, until you prove it to me, I'm not going to label you as this guy or that guy. With that being said, I've heard the stuff about him being very expressive in training camp. I loved his Michigan career from what I saw. I thought he was gutsy. I thought he was a great traffic ball catcher. I thought he was sneaky with his speed, everything. And I would love for him to be great. But what I'm expecting out of him this year is everything I just said to be in black and gold. Because Tomlin says the jump from year 1 to year 2 should be immaculate. And yeah, you guys could sit here and be like, but he didn't play last year. I don't care. Only because a guy like Tomlin says it. The mental jump is what really matters. And he was in the league last year. He was running routes against guys like JPJ last year in practice. He should have enough experience now, just like Fautanu, as much as I think he's going to be great. They got hurt early, but they have a mental year in the NFL, which is more than a lot of people in this world have. And rookies coming to the league. So I'm expecting huge things, to be honest, now that I really sit here and think about it. And the reason I'm not expecting it based on, definite. I'm not, it's not a definite that I'm like, oh, Russell Wilson's going to be great. I'm more or less I really think there's a huge lack in the wide receiver room because, you guys can't sit here and tell me in my face right now that I don't want to say when and if, knock on wood, I want everyone to stay healthy. But if DK goes down this year, I'm not happy about the wide receiver room. But I think I talked enough right there. You could go ahead.
No, you're good, bro. For me, I'll start with Calvin Austin. The thing I like about Calvin Austin is I feel like he's taking strides every year that we had him. His first year, obviously, didn't play due to injury. Second year came back, was more special teams, punt return, and we dibbled that, try to get him into different looks on offense. He had a pretty low output year 2. But then I feel like year 3, from the Chargers game where he had that nice slant, he showed flashes of being a guy, in my opinion. Especially towards the end of the season, I feel like he became more and more reliable. I can remember vividly the Cleveland game where he stepped up a lot in big moments. And then he stepped up a lot in big moments, even in that playoff game against the Ravens. If I could shine a bright spot on someone during that game, I know it's hard to because we got beat pretty bad. But yeah, I could say Calvin Austin was a bright spot in that game.
For sure.
So I kind of expect the same thing this year. I expect him to pick up where he left off, and I expect him to get better throughout the season. That's my expectation for Calvin Austin. Is that a wide receiver 2 role? Is that a wide receiver 3 role? I think that depends on what we do with the rest of free agency. I think, me personally, not to disagree with Deck, but I feel like he is capable of a wide receiver 2 role because I see the strides. Because I see the strides that he's been taking, and I think what he caught. What did he have? 530-something yards or 600 yards or something last season. I expect with a greater workload, even because we know what DK done in Seattle, but he hasn't done anything in Pittsburgh yet. So we don't know what that situation is going to look like still.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier, my bad. But you have to prove it in black and gold. So.
And that's true. But we do know what Calvin Austin brought to the team last year, and we do know that he's gotten better. And I think his ceiling definitely depends on what he could do in the return game. That's part of his attributes, returning punts and kickoff, having him on kickoffs and things of that nature. I think he's one of those guys where he could, at the lowest, I feel like, be a gadget player. At the highest, he could be a pretty decent wide receiver too. Yeah. That's determined on his play this year. I'm not 100% sure what leaps he will take. I expect him to be better. So I at the bare minimum, I expect Calvin Austin to catch for maybe 700 to 800 yards and let's say 4 to 5 TDs. I think that would be a pretty good season for him, whether that's a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3.
Even a wide receiver 2, that's a good.
Yeah, because we got tight ends. And having Jonnu Smith, I know Dak says our tight end room is loaded, and I agree with that. But I think you could use Jonnu Smith in different ways, and you could have 2 tight end sets where, it's taken. We don't necessarily need a wide receiver 2 in every package. So yeah. With that being said, I expect Calvin Austin to take leaps. If y'all can understand, that's what I'm saying from this take. Roman Wilson, on the other hand, he's coming off an injury. I love his playing style at Michigan. I thought last year, if he was given an opportunity, probably could have stepped up. Yeah. And played whatever role he would have had for us. This year, I kind of expect. I expect to either. I don't have, like Dex said, he had high expectations for him. I wouldn't necessarily say I have high expectations for him off the bat. But as the season goes along, my expectations will be higher for him. I mean, he has to get his feet wet under him. That's what preseason's for. We'll see what he looks like in training camp. Obviously, in OTAs and everything, it was told that he was looking pretty good. So I expect him. He's a good route runner. Nice, strong hands. Small guy, but could catch in traffic. I expect a lot. I don't want to say I expect a lot from him, but I think his upside is tremendous. I think he can be a good slot receiver in this league. He's just unproven. And a lot of the guys that we have on offense is still unproven. Even guys like Darnell Washington, he's unproven. He's a great piece to have on your team, but we kind of don't fully know how to utilize a guy like that yet. I mean, there's teams I think of like San Fran or people that, man, if they had a guy like Darnell Washington, they would know exactly what to do with him. We're coming with 3 good tight ends, so where does Darnell Washington fit in? I don't know. We'll see.
He might be a trade asset if he plays well this year.
Honestly.
Which won't be bad because we have both 2 great tight ends other than him.
Exactly. So I'm not sure too much on that. But yeah, with Roman Wilson, I expect him to jump in and maybe take on the wide receiver 3 role, possibly if we don't grab anyone else like the names we said earlier in the segment. And that's where I'm at on those 2 names. I feel like that's all you can expect from them. You can't expect nothing too crazy or too Jurassic from last year, but I expect them to take leaps. I think our wide receiver room as a whole right now, we do need a wide receiver too.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, if we walked in with the receiver room we have today onto the field week 1, I'm not completely mad at it. But
I'm curious. I'm not angry.
Yeah, it would be more like
see what DK really does.
Yeah, it could look very similar to last year, or it could look a lot better. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, to end with this, like, on that topic before we go into the next, and, like, I'm not combating my prior statement, but I do expect a lot out of these 2 guys, but it's not because I want to. I think they're both great young players that are going to be in this league for a long time. I mean, Roman a little less only because I haven't seen it, but I really do think he's going to be just as good, if not better, than Calvin Austin, and that's not putting Calvin down at all. It's just, I mean, he was a higher, they're probably about the same round. I think they were both 3rd-round picks. Either way, but what I'll end it with is I don't want to put that much trust and that much expectation into them. It's just, like we said, we need a wide receiver too, and I honestly don't think we're going to get one. So I guess I'm raising my expectation based on Tomlin's exact statements and his exact ideology, which is next man up. I want a guy to step up and make us not have to get a wide receiver too, whether that be Calvin Austin, Robert Woods. I don't care who it is. Like, I just want a guy, and I guess having high expectations usually lets you down. But even if they get, if they get what D said and they get, one of them gets an 800-yard season with 5 tutties, I'm perfectly fine with that. Mostly if we utilize our tight ends well and DK has a monster season. What I'll end when it comes to them 2 is I'm not going to put them in the washer entirely, like if they were to not perform a certain way, because I think their performance, a lot of it, like more than half of it, 60%, comes down to Arthur Smith. And that could sound crazy, whatever. I know he's a run first guy. I know he's a tight end guy. Excuse me. But schematically, our offense hasn't really been ideal. Our play calls haven't been ideal. Arthur Smith has definitely made it better. Let's not be confused. Like, people that don't think Arthur Smith is, honestly, he's elite compared to the guys we've had. I was not a Canada fan. I wasn't even a Todd Haley fan. I could go down the line. I wasn't a big fan. Arthur Smith, I am a big fan. It comes down to him when it comes to getting these guys open and writing some stuff up. I know he's under Tomlin's hands, and that's why I haven't given him a lot of blame. But he has to pass this year. You have Aaron Rodgers. Omar Khan knows that he has Aaron Rodgers. He knows he has DK. I think Omar Khan should be focused on getting a wide receiver too, but I just sadly don't think they will. It depends. There's a lot more factors, is what I'm saying, than just those two players and their abilities. Arthur Smith has to set them up for success. But that's all I'll say on that topic until the next.
Before we do get on the next topic, just more talking on Arthur Smith. With him, I feel like in order for his offense to work, what he wants to do, you got to establish the run game. Mm-hmm. Last year, we weren't good enough in the run. Getting 3 yards per carry out of Najee, he's gone now, wasn't good enough.
No.
Warren, he played good in spots, fumbled a lot last year. We weren't the best when it came to the run game last year. And that starts up front, blocking. And that starts with your running backs. But that sets up everything, especially in a guy like Arthur Smith's offense, where he loves the play action. He loves the deep ball off the play action. He likes to utilize his tight ends. In order for those things to work, you got to be able to at least have the defense on their toes with the run game. And you got to have full continuity within your offense. We didn't have that last year. You could just tell what we were doing every play. And it's been like that the last couple of seasons. Not to put the blame on Arthur Smith, just what we wanted to do wasn't aligning with the way we were playing on the field. And you could see the approach that he wanted to take last year. You could tell he wanted to utilize every part of the field. You could tell he wanted to utilize his weapons on the outside. But when you can't keep a defense on their toes and they're constantly got their errors pinned back, it's kind of hard. Yeah. It's kind of hard to be able to get into the things you really want to run and the things you really want to do. So with that being said, to go back into my point, is that I think our running game will take big strides this year. And I think that will set everything else up. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of 12-man personnel this year, a lot of play action. But then it'll look a lot different. I think Arthur Smith will have his imprint on the offense, but then we'll get a lot of what Aaron Rodgers brings to the table. You can't undermine his veteran presence and all the different scenarios he's seen and been through on different teams, Green Bay specifically, and all the big games that he's been in. Not saying he's been on the winning side of all those games, but if it wasn't for his special teams failing him the year against Seattle, he goes to another Super Bowl. I won't put that one on him. But we'll be relying a lot on Aaron Rodgers. It'll kind of be a mixture, and that's what I'm waiting to see is how well will our coordinators work with Aaron Rodgers. How well will they bounce off each other? And obviously, we'll see if our running game takes the strides that we definitely needed to take in order for what Arthur Smith's approach on offense to work. If we want that to work, it's mandatory that our running game takes big strides. Our running game was one of the worst in the league last year. Crazy. And on defense, we gave up. We was terrible against the run. That's not a good recipe for success, especially with the way the Steelers want to play football. We're a stop the run first team, and we're a run the ball first team. So,
yeah.
And it's like the approach. Not to cut Declan off, but we talk about how it's an offensive league, and I wanted to speak on this earlier when you said so. I forgot about it.
No, you're good.
But this is a more offensive dominated league now. It's kind of like trending in the direction towards college, not fully, but in terms of offense being potent. But go look at the Eagles' approach. Go look at the way they play football. It's different. They beat that offensive-minded approach by having a great D-line, a great defense, a great secondary, great run game. And they pretty much were great at the basic things. And that's kind of what you need to offset just a potent offense. You got to be well-rounded altogether. And I kind of see the Steelers trending in that direction. But obviously, I don't want to get too high on it because I've said that even in years past, I've seen what we wanted to do, but we have to do it. So
we don't have Saquon or Jalen. No, I agree with what he's saying, though. I mean, I forget his name, but we do have a guy from the Eagles in our on our staff in our front office that is heavily involved in the draft process, and I mean that's why we've been establishing the trenches as much as we can in these last few years, probably more than that. I mean, you get a guy like Broderick, talent-wise. You get a guy like Fautanu, McCormick and Frazier were good pickups, of course. You got a guy like Derek Carmen coming in this year. And that's kind of rolling us into the next topic is, I mean, I'm more or less talking about defensively prior to this, but the Eagles' approach is what I heard a lot of people expecting us to take. Without us re-signing Justin, I kind of lost that vision, but only because, I mean, Tom has been talking forever about a mobile quarterback. But we'll leave that where it is. I'm sure we'll bring up some other stuff in later episodes. But right now we're going to talk about pretty much just rookie standouts and the D-line. So do you want to start it off a little bit, or you want me to keep going?
You know, I have no problem starting it off. But
you got it.
Rookie standouts, I mean, when we say rookie standouts, we're not really necessarily talking about what's the action that's went on in OTAs or anything, but more just I think our expectations on who will be the rookie standouts. I think a guy that we're both high on is Jack Sawyer. I feel like we both feel like he's kind of like he's mature above his years. Just the way he carries himself, the way he talks to the media. And I expect him to, the biggest thing of all, you got 3 guys ahead of you who are all, I feel like, destined for stardom in some type of way with Nick Herbig, Highsmith, and TJ Watt. Who's a better 3 guys you could learn off of coming in as a rookie? I mean, I don't think there's a better trio you could look at. So I expect him to pick up a lot on techniques and, you know, violent hands that they use and the way they get after the quarterback, because we watched TJ take Nick right under his wing and kind of like adopted a lot of what he does on the field. I'm obviously, Nick and Jack Sawyer are 2 different players, but I think he can adopt a lot of those things in his playing style, along with the things that he already brings to the table. I think he'll be great in the run game. Just having him, Derek Harmon, Yaya Black. I think those 3 guys I'm very high on, because you look at our defense, just the veteran presence all around it. Cam Hayward for the D-line, TJ Watt for the edge, Highsmith. Those guys just being able to take the rookies under their wing, I feel like it will be almost one of the easier transitions for rookies. Like, I know Derek and Jack have to be feeling blessed to be able to come in a situation like this. Maybe not necessarily making that immediate impact that they may want to as a rookie, but just being able to learn off of guys and those mental reps and seeing the best do it. Cam Hayward, he's top 5 in his position. TJ is top 1. So being able to learn off those guys will 100% pay dividends for them. Whether it's down the line this year or wherever the case, they're going to learn a lot with the natural talent they already bring to the table. Another rookie that I don't want to say high on, but I have pretty good No, I'm high on him. I'm super high on him. I mean, I think Caleb Johnson.
Yeah.
We spoke on this last week, but I think, like, there's just certain guys where you look at them and you just know. Like, I feel like we all had that same thing with Le'Veon Bell when he first came out of the study, when he came out with all those workout videos with his footwork and everything. A lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, he's going to be the one." I feel that same way with Caleb Johnson. Like, just his aura, his presence. I feel like as a rookie, again, he might not week 1 be the starter, but I guarantee you week 6, week 7, you're going to have no choice but to put him as a starter because of everything he brings to the table. He's an all-around complete back. 1,500 yards last year to 21 touchdowns. Top 7 in the FBS last year. He just brings a lot to the table, and that's a guy I fully expect to make immediate impact on the team.
Yeah. Man, when it comes to the D line, man, and rookies, I mean, I could obviously cross that. I could put those both together, man. You got a guy like Derek Harmon coming in. There's not a lot to be said there. I mean, that's a dog. I honestly think he's the most league-ready rookie, possibly in the whole league. That sounds a little crazy, but I mean, obviously you could talk about some of these guys coming out on the D-line as well. I mean, it was a D-line heavy draft, and a running back heavy draft, and that's what I'm about to get into. When it comes to Derek Harmon, I don't really have to say too much. I like what D said when he said this is a great situation for him and Jack Sawyer, because I'd compare it to a top recruit in the country committing to Alabama and being a backup. You know what I mean? Like, Are you better off going to a lower level college that's not in the SEC and, going off, or are you better off being behind Derrick Henry or someone at running back? Like, I'm learning from that guy every day, even getting beat up by that guy, like, and not literally, but just taking heat, like letting iron sharpen iron. And that's kind of what's going to go on. Like, as much as we talk about the learning lessons they'll have and all the knowledge they'll soak in, there's probably going to be some competition. I'm not saying for coming for people's jobs, but Cam Hayward is not a stranger to letting rookies know, like, you're here now. Like, he's not the nice guy when it comes to in between the lines. Neither is TJ. He's taken Nick in pretty greatly. Former Wisconsin guys, so makes sense. But to get into Sawyer, man, I pretty much agree with DG on the two rookies I'm probably most excited for. It's Caleb Johnson and Jack Sawyer. Part of me wants to include Will Howard, but I just don't think we'll be able to see much. I'm excited the most for Will Howard when it comes to preseason, though. Yeah. I will say that, because I think we could see something pretty nice there. Man, Jack Sawyer and Derek Harmon and also Yahya Black. I'll bring up Yahya, too. I mean, the guy has a 6'6" frame. Yeah, he's huge. And I think what that yells and what that screams to me that I love is old school trying to stop the run. Because when I look at a guy like Nick Herbig, I really think so highly of him that, I mean, I was borderline like, okay, if we lose TJ, Nick Herbig exists. Because I really think he could be that guy. But a lot of people have pointed out his weakness being the run game. Well, you put Jack Sawyer in on a 3rd and short, I really think he could be a run stuffer. I mean, I think that's going to be one of his main attributes.
That's what he brings to the table already coming into the league, is that run stop ability.
Yeah, and that shows me that our depth at edge, Highsmith is a great run stopper, but if he goes down, and, TJ's everything, you got a guy like that on the other side with Nick Herbig, and that's one of the main positions that you want flexibility, you want depth. And that's why, I mean, we have the best edge room in the league. Nobody can tell me. Now that TJ's back, best edge room in the league. I mean, oh, my God. I mean, because Jack Sawyer, I really do have high hopes that he'll be really good. I'll move down the line to another rookie that I kind of wanted to say when we were kind of, going all over the place with offenses. Like, Caleb Johnson's the most important rookie this year. And that sounds nuts in some ways. I don't think so, though, because when I look at it, man, we don't have a wide receiver 2. We have great tight ends. We have an O-line that we're expecting to gel. We have a Jaylen Warren that we know what to expect in terms of what he can provide in the dosages we've had him provide. But we don't know how he'll be as a, we said this last episode with the workload all on him. Yeah. I think right now the reason I'm like, we need a wide receiver 2 now is because the run game's up in the air in terms of what could go down. If Caleb Johnson emerges and is a beast, and he's just, what Najee was almost, but just faster and able to hit those gaps and able to, juke people out, this could be a way different season if he has just a rookie season that we're not anticipating.
Yeah, and not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But I feel like what he brings to the table is a lot what Breece Hall in New York brings to the table. I feel like he could be great out the backfield. And
For
just
sure.
that I feel like he has the tools. Like when I watch him run the ball, even just go through his drills, I mean that might sound a little glaze worthy, but I just feel like, you know, I watch him. He feels like a vet already, and we haven't even seen him play week 1. Just the way he carries himself on and off the field, I expect him to step into that role. And again, not to cut that short or anything, but
you good, man.
I think
I like it. Hey, by the way, Caleb Johnson ties his shoes. So cool.
But our depth this year is insane. I feel like, especially I'm mainly talking defense, not offense. But our depth on defense is insane. I mean, everywhere. Like our cornerback room, you go
Trice.
Corey Trice. Then you got JPJ, D. Slade, Beanie Bishop, Jalen Ramsey. I could go on and on.
Safety could use a little bit of help, but
Of course, it can.
but it's
Safety,
still good.
Yeah,
in terms of who we could move around there.
yeah, Thornhill, another veteran. I think he'll be better than what a lot of people are expecting him to be. He's kind of, I feel like we'll have that rule maybe that Deshaun Elliott had last year, just flying under the radar but playing better than what people expect.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I expect from a good, savvy veteran like him. But our D-line, 4 deep at edge rusher. And when I say 4 deep, I mean 4 quality players that can step in for you at any time and produce, I think, at a high level. Jack Sawyer, we haven't seen anything of him yet at Pittsburgh, but again, a guy like that, what would we get him in the 4th round?
I want to say 4th on the dot.
Yeah, I mean, so
because Yaya Black, I think, was 5th, and then Will was 6th.
Okay,
because we had that Kent.
We got him
in
in the
7th.
4th round.
So yeah, 4th round. Yeah,
and Yaya Black, and the guy we haven't mentioned on Keanu Benton. You have
last week we talked about him.
Yeah, we did
a little bit, but yeah, today
just four guys right there, 2 rookies. You could not consider Keanu not a vet. He's still young, but experience is growing and growing. And Cam Hayward, we don't have to speak on. So just 4 deep at that position, 4 deep interior and 4 deep outsides. So we're very deep there. Our linebacker depth is there a little bit. We still got Holcomb, right?
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna take over unless you
go ahead, take over.
I was gonna say the most underrated room might just be the middle linebacker room, and because because Patrick Queen, like I said last episode, has all the intangibles to be great. He just got to put it together, and he has to trust his abilities, man. He has to trust his instinct, his abilities.
So, do you feel like Queen had what would you rate his season last year? Because I feel like personally, a lot of people been giving him slack and saying he didn't live up to expectations, but I feel like he had a pretty good year last year. What do you think on that?
If there was a grade in between C+ and B-, that would be what it is. But only because we gave him pretty good money. I know he was the running partner with Raquan, and Raquan Smith. Oh my God, guys, that's probably one of my favorite players in the league. Even though he wears them ugly purple and yellow and white colors.
I don't like that
guy. He's giving us problems, but man, as a guy that loves one of the linebackers, that guy is a demon. The only reason I say that, and maybe I'm just a high expectation guy, but with Queen coming in, I really expected like more of a presence from him every game, or at least more consistency. But I was like happy with what he looks like on a like game-to-game basis in terms of what I could see happening. I don't think the production was there as much as it should have been, but I love his potential. I mean, he's still young. Yeah, and super. To be running, I mean, who I'm about to bring up, to be running with Peyton Wilson, he's eventually going to not have to be, the main linebacker again, in my opinion. He flourished with Raquan, and I think Peyton Wilson's going to give him that same comfort and that same, like, comfortability as a whole. Like, hey, I don't have to make every play. I could do my job. And, man, that guy is great in coverage, Patrick Queen. He has all the tools. Like, if I were to make a guy in the lab to play middle linebacker, he'd be one of them. So, but when it comes to that room, man, Cole Holcomb is coming back. And
so he is coming back.
Yeah, and we signed him for pretty cheap, and he just came off that ACL, I think it was, injury, which every time a player comes off of that, big deal. And even before he came here, I think he was having injury issues. Yeah. But, man, Elandon Roberts was a big loss for guys like me.
That hurt. I feel like depth-wise, for that position specifically, again, not to cut my boy off.
No, you good,
bro.
Back
into what his point was. But I feel like losing Elandon Roberts, he came big. He came up big in certain moments last year, stopping the run game specifically. I feel like when we were getting bullied in the trenches, Elandon stepped up a lot of those times. 4th and 1s, 4th and shorts. Elandon Roberts was the one that stepped up. Patrick, just to double back into that after what you said, I feel like he didn't necessarily do too much wrong last year. But then again, I don't feel like he necessarily made all the big splashes that people thought he would last year either. I think he kind of played that middle ground. Early in the season, he looked pretty good. I mean, everyone went on as the season went on, I feel like our defense as a whole went on a decline. And when you're getting gashed in the run game, it's kind of hard for those linebackers to stay free and make the plays that they're accustomed to. That's a big reason why I feel like this year we will see that step up from Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson. I'll let him go back in.
When I speak on Elandon Roberts, it's a big loss for guys like me and D, and then like most of the guys I hang out with. We love hard-nosed football players. Like I got a lot of people I talk to that are big on defense. I mean, it's a theme in the city.
Coverage is a liability.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to get into here is I think the depth that we have accrued by dropping him isn't as crazy as people that love watching those big hits, goal line hits, think it is. And, I mean, from a highlight perspective, love the guy. But, excuse me, you got to think about it like this. Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson are both physically able-bodied to do everything they need to do at the position, which has changed a lot. It's one of the main positions that have undergone a huge shift in terms of what they're asking, body type, athletic ability, etc. So you got those two guys that I think are capable of everything on the field. And Cole Holcomb, man, is way better of a versatility guy than Elandon Roberts. I'm not saying he was better to watch. We didn't see too much of him. But the guy can cover. The guy can hit just like Elandon can. And the guy, he's a football player, man. And another guy I'm going to bring up that I think could be similar to Roberts for us. I don't know where that came from, y'all. I really do think Robinson, correct? Is it Robinson? I don't know his first name, guys, but I have done some. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to look him up, bro. Am I wrong?
Listen.
Robertson.
Robinson.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't know who he's referring to, but
no, I'm gonna look it up, guys. It's fine.
We're gonna figure out. Did he play last year?
Yeah, who I'm referring to, regardless of if I got the name right, is a depth player that we have seen spurts of in the game because we naturally, just like any team, are gonna get some guys in there. We're gonna rotate mostly at that position. You get gas, you run a sideline to sideline. He's a guy that has had huge hits in the game and has been a big special team guy.
Mark Robinson.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know who he's talking about.
Try to get
Robinson,
me, bro.
I didn't know who he was talking about first. Mark Robinson, he's a hard hitter. He's one of those football players that, I mean, I like him, but when it comes to covering and things like that,
horrible.
Yeah, he was.
I more or less mean that Elandon, like,
but I know what
he could fill in for that. Like, okay,
that type of role
we're playing the Ravens this week.
His strength,
Derrick Henry, put him in there, he might smack his shit.
I agree because his strengths are Elandon Roberts' strengths, and his weaknesses are Elandon Roberts' weaknesses. So
yeah,
I see that comparison right there. I
almost thought I folded right there. I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back, bro.
Yeah, my bad.
He was part of the reason I was saying our depth is good in there because it's him, and then we just got Brunner.
Yeah, okay, the guy from Washington.
Which his dad is on our staff, so they saw it as a nepotism pick, but a lot of people said that the reason they really picked him is because he actually is like
pretty
that.
Good in the run game.
I saw he's pretty good. He's decent. I mean, that's college. You know, it's a whole different ball game, but I think depth-wise for what we got him in, which was we got him 5th round maybe? Yeah, 4th or 5th. We just said we got someone else.
We might have got him 7th.
Yeah, well,
might have got him. 6.
Yeah, 6 was Will.
But do we have
6 was
6
Will
rounds?
Howard. I don't know. I actually forget.
I feel like we got him after Will Howard, or we got him after Jack Sawyer. I think.
Okay.
So somewhere in between the 5th and.
Either way, Either way, he's not a Mr. Irrelevant guy. So not that Mr. Irrelevance, aren't in the league. Like much respect to them. But, yeah, I mean, I think the depth of that position as a whole is actually underrated. But that's mainly because I'm very high on Peyton Wilson, and I think Cole Holcomb could start in this league, and he's not going to. I mean, of course, you're going to have a gadget guy like that. I mean, a third linebacker in this league currently is a starter, like, almost. Like, because depending on the week, you could be the main guy. Like, now with these two, I don't see that happening. I mean, Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson, but it just depends, man. So I'm excited to see what comes out of that group as well as the entirety of the team. But we can finish up if you want.
Before we wrap things up, to go back on to that topic a little bit, the linebacker room to me is still very unproven, and that's why I say it's one of the positions, in my opinion, that's you have to kind of put a question mark on a little bit because of depth, in my opinion. Yeah, we're bringing back Holcomb. Yeah, we're bringing back Mark Robinson, and yes, we have Peyton Wilson, who looked good as a rookie, and Patrick Queen. But then when you remove Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson has still been injury prone college wise.
Yeah.
We still obviously we don't bank on injuries here, but we still don't know what's really behind him because Holcomb, he's coming off an injury. He's coming off an ACL injury. We don't know how that will affect him coming back this year. So not that position group specifically can't be good. I feel like it can, but it's still a question mark to me because the guys that we have behind our starters. I like Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson is one of the better tandems I feel like in the league. But behind them, I feel like is where the question mark lies. And you never know. This is the NFL, the highest level of football. So injuries do happen game to game. So we'll see. But if I had to put a question mark on things, linebacker and O-line are the two position groups where I'm like, are we going to look what the potential is there for both of those position groups, but what will it be? Everywhere else I'm looking at, I'm like, we're good. But those groups specifically, I'm like, that's where question marks lie.
Yeah, I'll slightly disagree, but not to the point where it's like overbearing because I get where he's coming from. I mean, you got, as much as I think it's an underrated room in there, in the middle linebacker room, and I definitely don't expect two guys to get injured, but I mean, it's the NFL, like you said. And even if it's one or the other, you definitely have some games where if you need two speedsters like out there covering and Cole Holcomb's out there with like a recent ACL. So we're not necessarily going to see him at his peak athletically. But I will say the trenches are what I'm most worried about on both sides. I mean, of course, everybody that watches and loves football knows that it begins with the trenches and, you win with the trenches. As much as I'm not going to refer to the edge guys right now, like, yeah, they're part of the D-line. The interior three, I'm not worried about, but I definitely think those are question marks in some aspects because, like, Derek Harmon, I think, is league ready. Cam Hayward is showing no signs of aging. Guy like Keanu Benton is playing, pretty well, as much as I think schematically, if we change some things, he could play better. But The reason I'd say it's a question mark is because, naturally, as much as I'm high on Derek Harmon, rookie, as much as I think Cam Hayward isn't aging, he is. As much as Keanu Benton, I think schematically could use a jump from the Steelers themselves, we've seen some inconsistency. Yeah. And when it comes to that linebacker room, anybody that, has played or just watched football, we know, to be able to perform as a linebacker, you need the big guys in front of you to control their gaps and, smack the guy in front of them, get pressure, all that. So I think they're really my biggest question marks because we've needed to be good in those aspects for so long. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying we weren't recently top in sacks and all that. Yeah. And sacks are fine, but when it comes to that running game, man,
that's the most important.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
With the D-line, I think we kind of forced Keanu Benton last year into maybe being more of a playmaker guy than a run stopper. And I think this year, with having Derek Harmon, who I think will be that playmaking type of D tackle, who shoots gaps and makes a lot of plays in the backfield, I feel like Keanu Benton could be that guy who takes up double teams. I feel like Yaya Black could be that guy that takes up double teams and frees up guys like Derek Harmon and Cam Hayward. I think Cam Hayward and Derek Harmon are more fitted with each other, and Keanu Benton and Yaya Black will be more fitted with each other in terms of what they bring to the table at D-line. So that's why I'm kind of comfortable there, because I feel like Derek Harmon will be able to step up in that role of a Cam Hayward and make plays. Yes, he's a rookie. Yes, we don't know what he's going to do. These are all assumptions and what I think will happen. And I think he's a guy that's long arm, fast twitched, big body at D-line. He has all the tools. And if I could, a comparison that I would make is like a Chris Jones from the Chiefs, potentially. And Yaya Black, I put him in the rounds of not saying he's Casey Hampton, but what he could bring to the table and just being that pure run stopper. And Keanu Benton could focus on being that guy who frees up his playmaker. So I'm not, me personally, and it's okay to disagree on the Blue Bridge podcast, I feel like linebackers improving just because of where the guy that's coming back. Mark Robinson, we know he's not good in coverage. We still don't know how he'll look this year in the run game. Will he be run disciplined? Will Cole Holcomb look the same? Not saying he looked great when he was with us before injury, but he was solid. Will he step back up and be solid again? We don't know. But when you look at our first two guys, I'm comfortable there. I'm comfortable with Peyton Wilson in the coverage game, run game. I'm comfortable with his motor, and same with Patrick Queen. So it's kind of more like it's more assumption based on what's the question marks. But you could arguably say they're both question marks still, because they are. Like we said last week on the podcast, we got gash in the run game. So we are improving in D-line, and we still have to prove that. But if I have to put my own personal opinion in there, I'm more concerned with linebackers right now. Right now, that could change, but right now I'm more concerned with the linebacker core than I am with D-line.
No. I'm just playing, y'all. Hey, I don't got much less to say or much more to say. Yeah, man. You're just like the comments. You guys are allowed to disagree with us. Please, feedback is welcome, regardless of what it is. So,
yeah, and please, we have a Twitter where the Blue Bridge Podcast under Twitter. Follow us. DM us and give us topics, scenarios that you might want us to cover. Keep giving us feedback, whether it's in the comment section, Snapchat, wherever it is. Please keep giving us feedback. That's what keeps us going. That's what keeps us motivated to do better, and wherever the case. And it's appreciated.
Yeah.
So
for sure,
feedback over here is whether you might consider it negative, positive, wherever the case. We take it constructively, and, we'll try to implement some of the things that you guys bring to us. We want you guys to be a part of us just as much as we want to be a part of this. So what I'll say is, keep giving us feedback. We appreciate it.
Yeah, agreed. And last thing I'll say is I appreciate you guys who are watching, regardless of how many people are watching, for bearing with us. Well, first of all, for watching, and second of all, for bearing with us with equipment. Working on improving it as much as I can. I've been putting in some time to try to mess around with stuff. I'm not the techiest guy, but I appreciate you. And also, when it comes to social media, the @ itself on Twitter is TBBPFB, the Blue Bridge Podcast Football. But you could just type in the Blue Bridge Podcast, it should pop up. That's the name without the @ and then when it comes to, we have a Gmail, the bluebridgepodcast@gmail.com. I'm not guessing that anybody's going to be emailing, but I'm going to put it out there and working on getting a Facebook and whatnot. So we appreciate anybody that's watching. Yeah, man.
That's it for this segment. We'll get with you guys next week. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. We out.